It's been a while since Hogwarts Legacy released, and whilst I did play a buttload of the game, I've had no real reason to go back after finishing it. That's where DLC could come in. The potential for Hogwarts Legacy and its growth is pretty endless. Obviously, in the main game, you start as a 5th year. At Hogwarts, you go up until your 7th year until you graduate. So we could see sequels coming out where you do the 6th and 7th year with those characters that you made in the 5th, but I highly doubt they'll do that. But I reckon they will do some DLC. But what could that DLC be? The game is already massive as it is. We can go to different places around Hogwarts and in Hogwarts itself. And there's already plenty to do. So what could they make a DLC about? Well, some have speculated that we could do Quidditch as a DLC. Not happening. Absolutely not. It's just not something that they would do for this, I don't think. Whilst the broom mechanics are very sound, the game just doesn't suit the Quidditch format. And besides, there's a Quidditch game already coming out fairly soon and they're doing some playtesting for it already. So scratch Quidditch off the DLC list. If Hogwarts Legacy is to do a DLC, it will be more story orientated. But again, a lot of the stories are kind of tied up in the main game. All the companion quests are tied up in the game. You're not going to do a quest line with Sebastian when he's kind of, depending on your choice, either locked up in Azkaban or feeling pretty goddamn bad about what he did. And when it comes to the main story, everything wrapped up. You even did your end of year exams. That was the epilogue. So they can't really do that as a DLC where you do like these scenarios for the OWLs. So with everything wrapped up story-wise when it comes to additional quests and the main story, for the most part, we kind of have to look to elsewhere. And by elsewhere, I mean other sections of the map. As you can see, there's a lot of empty space on the map. So could we see a DLC which expands the map and perhaps gives us a new story? Maybe something that we haven't seen. Maybe it's loosely connected to one of the companions that we've made in the game. The world that Hogwarts Legacy is set in is huge. There are different countries, there are different schools of magics where they could go to. However, they won't do that obviously because that would be ridiculous. Unless it's something like where we went to Azkaban for that short stint. So if Hogwarts Legacy is to get DLC, it will be story orientated. That is my guess. However, it will be a completely new story for us to experience, with some loose ties to either the main story or at least our companions. However, PC players were kind of already getting DLC in February 2024. Now obviously if you're playing this game on PlayStation, you've already experienced this probably, but the Hogsmeade questline doesn't exist for people on other platforms. So technically we are getting a DLC if you're not on PlayStation platforms, because we will eventually get access to the Hogsmeade questline. I'm assuming as a free update, or it will be dirt cheap if it is paid. And this is what I mean. That questline is completely original story. It's fairly short-ish in the grand scheme of things. So if they were to do a DLC, it would be much larger, which is where the map expansion comes in. If they are to do a story-orientated DLC, they'd have to expand the map. Because as nice as the world is currently in the game and how somewhat large it is, ish, top to bottom at least, maybe not so much the left and right, but being able to expand the world would be something that they could do. I think the game allows itself to be able to be expanded upon in that way, with additional quests for us to do, additional areas for us to explore that they can just add on to the map itself, or even additional areas within Hogwarts that maybe they haven't actually put into the game, or an additional quest line within Hogwarts, maybe a new mystery for us to uncover. I mean, the Chamber of Secrets is in the game. We obviously can't touch that because we'd be affecting other storylines. But there are heaps of Hogwarts secrets, some of which could be more developed and made into its own questline/story. Plus, there's plenty of characters to choose from if you want to attach a new story within Hogwarts Legacy to something that already exists. We have our companions, we have all the teachers, we have maybe even a new student. A couple of the students were kind of underused that were supposedly meant to be our companions. So could we see an expansion on maybe additional companion questlines for those that we didn't actually get a questline for? Or maybe it was a really small questline that we could see later expanded. And whilst we are on the topic of DLCs, perhaps we could even see a couple of free updates in the form of mini games. Now obviously Wizard's Chest isn't playable in the game, but it is present. within the world. Meaning, the assets visibly are there, physically there. Could we potentially see a couple of mini games added into the game as free updates or even just small paid DLCs? We have gobstones, we have wizard's chest, there's other wizarding mini games that could be added, and it'd also give us a good chance to stay situated in our common rooms, which have at the moment very little to do. So adding these mini games could give the devs a chance to explore the common rooms a bit more, have little tournaments. We already have a couple of other mini games that work in that tournament format. Just make wizard's chest, make gobstones, and with that same tournament format and put them in the common room. That's an easy free update / paid DLC that you could do. Mini games in these big RPGs get quite popular. Witcher did it with Gwent, and then Gwent got its own game. And I think the devs of Hogwarts Legacy could so easily do this as well as a bigger DLC. Will we get much DLC? Probably not. Maybe 1 or 2 bigger ones. And like I said, I'd like to see them do the smaller ones with the mini games, with like Wizard's Chest or Gobstones being added in. But it is probably more likely that we'll just get a sequel, perhaps following our character in their 6th/7th year, perhaps a completely new story, maybe even at a different school. Who knows? Let me know in the comments down below what you think could be added to Hogwarts Legacy, either in the form of updates or DLC, to further expand upon what is already a pretty damn good RPG. If you liked the video, please leave it a like, subscribe for more gaming content, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.